What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, something I don't typically do on the channel. I sit down and talk about some of the baits and stuff that I throw. Usually I'm out on the lake or the river just fishing. You guys are seeing me fish, catch bass or fish in a tournament. But today, this is something that, I'm pretty confident in, is river fishing. And I just want to show you all some of the baits that I've always got tied on when I'm fishing the river. Y'all gonna have to bear with me a little bit. I'm outside, and so I could have some better lighting and stuff like that. But I wanted to sit down and show you all some of the lures that I've always got tied on when I'm fishing the river. Like I said, there are some guys that watch this channel that fish the river that they're probably going to have a couple different things tied on than I do. But I'm also going to show y'all some other options, that I'm starting to throw more, such as big swim baits and stuff like that on the river. And there's a couple things in here that I may switch up throughout the day or throughout the year. So, but like I said, right now these lures, if I was heading to the river right now, these are going to be tied on when I head over there, and I will be throwing these all day long. So let's jump into this. Before we do though, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and like if you're new to the channel. I appreciate you guys stopping by. I'm just trying to grow this channel, guys, get it bigger. I enjoy it. I love fishing, and this is something that I really enjoy doing, is these videos. So, but yeah, guys, let's jump into it. Let's talk about some of these lures that I throw on the river. Maybe this will help some of you new guys out if you're looking into fishing the river and stuff like that a little bit more. So, all right, the number one thing that I'm always going to have tied on a rod when I'm headed to the river year round is a Ned rig, guys. I like to throw that on the wide gap, the little Ned rig wide gap hook there. That way it's weedless. You're still going to lose them sometimes. When we very first started throwing these a couple years ago on the river, me and my cousin Bubba, we didn't see no videos of these things. We didn't even know what they were. Bubba pretty much figured it out, and then after that it was just, we were throwing these things all the time and catching fish. And then we figured out, the 4-inch Ned rigs, or the 4-inch TRD by Z-Man, I should say. And then we started getting those bigger bites. But like I said, you've got that wide gap hook, and you just pretty much just like a Texas rig worm, you put that thing on there, weedless. And I like throwing the 4-inch. I just get those bigger bites on that 4-inch Ned rig. That has to be my number one. In my opinion, the number one is the Z-Man. My favorite color is the California Crawl or Yoga Pants, the all black. They've got plenty of options in that Z-Man brand, and I know a lot of you guys probably throw different brands as well. Another company that I really like is a local company, Big League Bait Co. They've got a Ned worm as well, 2.75 inches. This is Swamp Juice, Green Pumpkin, and June Bug on the other side. Really good, just color that you can pretty much throw year round, guys. So if I've got to say my number one bait, probably be this Ned rig on the river. I mean, you can throw it in deep water, you can throw it on the ledges, you can kind of drag it in the shoals. Say there's an eddy and you got current flowing past that eddy, you can throw this thing right down to that current and just sit in that eddy and let that thing just come down through that current and then slowly into that slow moving water. And usually there's a fish there, they'll eat it. And right now during the summertime, me and Bubba just went over to the river 2 weeks ago and probably caught 25 smallmouth all on this Ned rig. Not much size, but they absolutely eat this thing. And my personal best smallmouth is actually on a Ned rig. I may try to throw some clips of some of these catches in this video. That's a good one. I got a good one. Oh my God. Please stay on there. Oh, that's a strong fish.
That's a giant. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Please stay on there. Oh my God, dude. Woo! Woo! Holy crap, that is a giant, dude. $4.10, bro. New PB, guys. 410, guys. 410. But yeah, that's my number one bait if I'm on the river, guys. I would definitely throw that Ned rig, whether it's a 2.75 or the 4-inch. Throw it. The big ones will eat it, the small ones will eat it. I just feel like I get the bigger bites on that 4-inch TRD. So, and you can catch, I don't even know how many fish I could throw this thing for a week or so straight and catch a ton of fish on it. That Elastic's just amazing. I even keep my old ones because if I run out and I need a Ned rig to throw on, I've got even some old used ones in my tackle box that I can throw on here that will still get bit. So. Now, my second must-have lure on the river, especially this time of year, is going to be a Whopper plopper, guys. And a lot of you all know that this thing is an absolute blast on the river catching smallmouth. They absolutely destroy the Whopper plopper. I mean, you can almost throw this thing anywhere. I like to throw it floating down, you know, kind of the left or side of the right side of the bank. Throw it around lay downs, kind of up under the bushes, and just pull it out. Especially in the shoals, I have a lot of luck with this thing in shallower water in the shoals and stuff. But you know, I also throw it, you know, kind of offshore in the center of the river. You know, if there's like slate rock or, you know, big ledges and boulders and stuff in the middle of the river where those fish can sit behind an ambush, you can run this thing, I mean, pretty much directly in the middle of the river. And if there's a smallmouth there, they're going to absolutely destroy it. There's something about these Whopper ploppers that just make that chopping noise, that across the water, that drive those smallmouth crazy. You know, another option is the Chopo. This is the river to sea Whopper plopper. You've got the Chopo. But this is probably my second favorite lure to throw on the river, whether it's Little Pigeon River, the French Broad, the Holston, even on the lake. Largemouth will destroy this, but the river, this is something that I've got to have. Another option is a spook. If I'm not throwing a Whopper plopper, I'm going to have on a spook, guys. These little smaller spook juniors are absolutely awesome for smallmouth, and I've been destroyed on these as well. So, but yeah, that's going to be my second option. Ned rig and then a Whopper plopper, guys. Those got to be tied on if you're on the river this time of year. So yeah, get your Whopper plopper if you don't already, but I guarantee you 95% of you all have already got a Whopper plopper tied on if you're a river fisherman fishing for smallmouth. So oh my gosh, dude, that's a freaking tank, bro. That really is a big one. Where is my net? Oh my god. It's a chunk. It's not huge, but that's the biggest so far today for sure. Number 3. That's a pretty good size smiley right there. I want some more of those. All right, guys, and for the longest time, one of my favorite bites on that river, especially when me and Bubba was catching these bass on a spinnerbait during these jet boat tournaments, you know, a year or so ago. That was my favorite bite for a long time on the river. Still one of my favorite bites now. I love throwing a spinnerbait. I just feel like that bite's turned off for me a little bit recently. Last year I was absolutely killing them on this spinnerbait. Maybe I haven't threw it as much as I needed to, but one of my favorite bites on the river is spinnerbait. One of my favorite spinnerbaits is by Strike King. It's the LILMONEY. It's just a little bit smaller. It's got 2 of the little Colorado blades on it. It's got a small gold and a silver Colorado blade. It's kind of a smaller spinnerbait. It's got a smaller hook, smaller presentation. And right now I've actually got a Big League Bait Co. little paddle tail tied on it. It's kind of like a trout pattern, but a natural color. School bus driving by, and there's not even any school in right now, summer vacation. They must know I'm doing a video. But anyways, guys, one of my favorite bites right here is this spinnerbait. I absolutely love floating down the river, whether I'm in the kayak or in a boat, throwing this thing pretty much up into that bank next to laydowns and stuff like that. I get it up into that bank as far as I can and reel that thing back, and you will literally just see this thing disappear. You'll see those smallmouth come out and eat it. You'll see this thing jump a foot in the water where they just hit it, or like I said, you just see it disappear and set that hook, man. It's one of my favorite ways to catch these smallmouth on the river right here. There it is. Oh my God. Oh, Bubba, get the net. This is giant. This is giant, Bubba. I promise you, this might be the biggest one I've ever caught, bro. Hurry. Oh my God, dang. Woo! Oh God. Get it in there, get it in there. Oh my God. Dude, that might be 4 pounds, brother. No, I don't know if it's gonna go that big. Oh, look at that. No, no. That's a tank. That's a good one. Whew, dude, that thing was fighting so hard, dude. We needed that from the start. Woo, it got me pumped up. You can throw different trailers on these spinnerbaits, you know, different colors. You can throw, you know, 3-inch, 4-inch, 2-inch paddle tails. A lot of people will throw them without a trailer. You know, when I fished a tournament up on Chilhowie Lake, I was throwing them with a trailer hook instead of an actual plastic trailer. I was just throwing a trailer hook, and a lot of times I was catching those fish on that trailer hook. So, but yeah, number 3 is going to be a spinnerbait for me, guys. That's what I'm going to, you know, always have tied on when I go through the river, especially during the summer and spring and, you know, fall and stuff like that. During the winter, I don't usually catch fish on this. I'm typically throwing a Ned rig in the winter time. Those fish are just a little bit more lethargic in that cold water. And but then again, it's river smallmouth, man. They're just always so mean and they always fight so hard. So, but one of my favorite baits right here, guys, is this little Money Strike King spinnerbait right there. That's what I always throw. I've always got 2 or 3 of those just in case I lose one as well. Something about just that smaller presentation, especially those 4-pound smallmouth, they can really just inhale this thing, and super fun fight right there. All right, guys, my next lure I'm going to throw on the river is just a paddle tail, just a little swim bait. Obviously, there's a million options and a million different brands of little paddle tails and swim baits that you can throw. I like throwing the KEITECH, guys. I believe that's the Smallmouth Magic or Smallmouth Candy. Smallmouth Magic, guys. That's my favorite color right there. I've got it on a little weighted belly hook right there, but you can throw it on just like your regular round ball head jigs. You know, it won't be weedless. A lot of times, like during the summer right now, you got a lot of grass, and that'll swim through that grass and around that grass really well, being weedless like that. And then another option, throwing a little swim bait, is on a underspin too, guys, in the river. That's a really good option, is just throwing a paddle tail on an underspin. So, but that's something I like throwing a lot. Smallmouth will absolutely destroy these little swim baits. I mean, you can throw 2.5-inch swim baits up to 3. These are 4-inch right here. These are the skinny ones. They've got the fat KEITECHs that are a little bit rounder, a little bit like the Strike King swim baits. But I like throwing these, guys, and a lot of times I'll throw it on that, or I'll throw it, you know, just on a regular ball head jig like that with the hook not exposed at all. You know, or the hook is exposed. So, and like I said, you've got different options on swim baits. You can go a little bit bigger, like these guys here by Big League Bait Co. This is a silver shad paddle tail, a little bit bigger. It's got red eyes. You know, that's going to get big as well. And speaking of swim baits, guys, you know, this is typically what I'm going to throw, is just a small swim bait on the river. But a lot of guys catch these smallmouth and these shoals and stuff on big swim baits. So this is something I am trying to get into a little bit more, is throwing big swim baits. So not to get too off subject on just a regular little swim bait that I'm always going to throw on the river, whether it's on a bait caster or even a spinning rod. John from Creek Fishing Adventures has always got on a little paddle tail, and he throws it on a spinning rod all the time. It's a very good option. You can throw it really far, especially if you've got a really light jig head. You can throw that on a spinning rod. And usually when I throw the ones with the weighted belly, I'll throw them on a casting rod. But you know, guys, big bull shad, you know, that kind of does fall into the swim bait. You know, little paddle tails, even bigger, the bull shad. And then you've got the mag drafts as well, which is just a little bit bigger, you know, paddle tail. Those are some things that I'm starting to throw a lot more. The mag drafts, the big bull shad, guys. First cast I ever made on this bull shad, I caught like a 17 or 18-inch smallmouth on the Little Pigeon River. Never threw one in my life. This is the 8-inch bull shad. You can throw smaller, you know, even the baby bull shad. I've got the baby bull shad, the Mike Buka baby bull shad. You can get it from like Shop Carl's or something like that for like 15 bucks. But you can get those as well. But that's something I'm always going to have tied on, guys, is just a little paddle tail, guys. That's something on the river that them smallmouth will absolutely destroy all the time. There he is. Got him, guys. That's a good fish too. Oh my God, I got it. That's the fish that just missed the plopper. It's a tank. Get in that net, baby. Oh, let's go. That's a good fish. 17 1/4. Not bad, 17 1/4. Let her go. Now here's where it gets tricky. If we're going with best 5, this is where it gets hard for me, guys, because I've either got on a little small finesse jig, which a lot of times I can put that Ned rig anywhere I can, this jig. But I still like throwing this jig, guys. It still catches some really big fish. But if I had to pick like my top 5, I'm going to go with a crankbait, guys. I love catching those smallmouth on a crankbait in the river. I've caught some really, really good smallmouth on the river on a crankbait. I was up here fishing the creek the other day. I noticed there was some crawfish. They were that kind of that orange color right there up in the creek. So I tied that on to see if that would get us bit today. There it is. There it is. It's a good one. It's a really good one. It's a really good fish, guys. It's a good fish. Fighting some. Stay down. Oh gosh, it's a big one. That's a big one. Oh my lord, that's a giant. You all see that? Look at her mouth. Look at her mouth. Can y'all see that shad? Down her throat. Look at that. Look at that. That is an absolute beast, guys. 18.5 inches, super fat gut. Look at that thing. I'm typically throwing like a square bill because I'm usually throwing it in the shoals. I like this thing bouncing off those rocks or where there's an eddy. If I'm floating, say there's an eddy on the left side and I'm floating down through there, I'll make that cast from a distance over into that eddy and reel that thing out into those shoals. And usually there's a bass in there, they'll eat this thing. And like I said, I'm usually throwing like a square bill. Sometimes I'll throw a fritz side or like a DT6 or something. And color-wise, guys, you know, I'm usually going with like white and chartreuse, you know, or something with like bright orange on the belly, something like a brown crawl, you know, especially in the fall time. It's really good on these like brown crawls with like orange on the belly, or even these little guys here on a spinning rod, that brown crawl pattern with a little yellowish orange belly. Something like that I would throw on a spinning rod, maybe like 15-pound test, like a 10-pound leader, you know. And I've caught 3.5, 4-pound smallmouth on that little bitty crankbait right there. I think that's like the little a bomber maybe or something. I forget exactly the name of it, but it's pretty small compared to some of these other ones. But man, those big smallmouth will still eat it. But yeah, typically that's what I'm throwing, guys, on crankbait wise, is, you know, chartreuse, yellow, orange, bright colors, white, bright orange and brown back and stuff like that. So, but yeah, guys, those are the main baits I'm going to have tied on if I'm on the river. Hopefully this helps some of you guys. I know a lot of guys message me asking me what I throw on the river. You know, hey man, I'm going to the river. I've never really fished the river that much before. What would you tie on and what would you throw? Like I said, in those shoals, you're fishing shallow water. I'm going to throw that Whopper plopper this time of year. I'm going to throw spinnerbait, paddle tail. I can throw this crankbait in that shallow water. But yeah, guys, that's it. Those are my 5 lures that I'm always going to have tied on when I'm on the river. Like I said, there are some other options, you know, finesse jig. One thing I forgot to mention was a fluke. That's something that's really good on the river in them shoals and stuff. You're just popping that thing through there, throwing a fluke. That's a really good bait, but that's something that I don't have tied on all the time, but I do throw it. And then bull shad, like I said, guys, that's something I'm trying to get into more, is the bigger swim baits. And you know, glide baits and stuff like that is the, you know, these bigger profile baits, you know, mag draft, bull shad, you know, glide baits and stuff like that. Those smallmouth will eat those things. So yeah, guys, that's it. Hope y'all enjoyed that video. I hope that helped a couple of you guys on the river. And as always, appreciate it. Please like, please subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.